And welcome to Onesies, a continuing series of elder horrors inflicted upon myself, Andrew,
And my name is Emily, I
and
think.
yeah, and we're watching the 1992 hellscape going to extremes. Um, Emily was just saying that she does not have notes. Talk a little about how you don't have notes, and then I will tell you my amusing tale of notes.
So, the episode is episode 7. It's called A Bridge Too Far. And I think I hit my breaking point. I think I started taking notes and then I caught myself dissociating and didn't want to rewatch it to fill in the gaps.
Now, I
Um,
fell asleep a few times throughout this episode, thank God. And there's your biggest proof of a higher power, a benevolent higher power, is that I fell asleep through some of this. I corrected my typos. The next time I do that, I will not correct my typos and we will read the weird shit that I write. However, I did take notes. And in the new Mac operating system update, you can put widgets on your desktop, and I put my TV notes folder on my desktop. Except my notes begin going to extremes. Um, Item one, rowing machine. Item two, 14-year-old girl fucking 28-year-old men. And so I've been just looking since Thursday at this note on my desktop of my laptop, which I take to work because it's better than 5 of the work computers put together. And it just says 14-year-old girl fucking. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that saying? And I'm like, oh my God, it's that show. So yes, we open with
so before we get started,
okay.
our regular listeners may remember that we were horrified to discover that in this episode, Alex and Dr. Davis were going to, quote, get a little kinky. And that's how we begin the episode, except I don't think it was much kinkier than them having sex in a body bag. Literally a body bag.
They're having sex. They're doing tantric grinding on a rowing machine where Alex is handcuffed to it. It is not like it's just fucking the natural extension of gym culture of the 80s.
But
It's nothing.
also, what really drove me crazy. So there's just two things that drove me crazy, and this is just a minor thing because Alex is shirtless a lot of the time. Alex is a thin man, but he does not have a any woman who is in similar shape would not be allowed in a swimsuit on television in the 90s or quite frankly now. He's got a weird body is what I'm saying. I don't mean to body shame, but it drove me crazy the whole time that this weenie, annoying guy who's not even like in really good shape. It just goes to show that he's being horribly manipulated by this woman who seemingly has sexual trauma of her own, right? Like he is not Kim. Kim is in
Right.
fabulous shape and he's incredibly attractive. Alex is not even that attractive, but then he's also just kind of squishy in places. And I found that annoying because a woman could never do that. Sorry, that's my one thing.
Okay.
But also, it's not that kinky.
She's giving him history lessons about growing up in Liverpool during the English, whatever that revolution was,
The Britpop.
Britpop,
Well, yeah,
and talking about how she was a 14-year-old girl having an affair with two 28-year-old men.
gross.
So that's just rape. And it's also a sign of incredible trauma that she's normalized it. And
And
so
now she's engaging in sociopathic behavior.
to create the next generation
Yeah.
of Republican congressmen. So yeah, can't talk about politics this week, folks, but we can make 30-year-old political jokes. Okay, so Alex says, I want to fuck. I don't want to play Trivial Pursuit. And she's like, you're a boring young man. You have no interest in knowing how the Stones got started. And then she walks away. He starts screaming at her, and we reveal the handcuffs because an auteur directed this, and then he still wants to learn. She comes back in, climbs back on, and starts lecturing about Liverpool, and he makes his O face, except it's actually a hernia, which we will find out in a scene and a half.
Yeah.
We then get the opening titles. Okay, so in last week's episode description, I just went all in and was like, why are the producers of the show making Andy Lauer the racist one? Like, he's just a fucking little racist piece of shit.
Yeah.
We start the episode proper with Charlie and Kathleen and what must be their first scene alone together.
I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
driving home from the clinic in Charlie's red car. That we must remind everyone only is working because the natives fixed it. Kathleen wants to go see a neat waterfall, and I'm like, oh God, is this going to be about them fucking? Because God, I hope not. Also, we have escaped her fucking Wilford Brimley fuck daddy, which I can't believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're crossing a bridge too far. A guy jumps out and says, "Hey, it's my toll bridge." And Charlie says, "Why don't you get a job?"
Yeah, he goes all in. He goes all in. He is the worst character.
Yeah.
The worst human being.
He's a piece of shit, and I
Yeah.
hope. And let's remember, I started this show going, I think I liked Andy Lauer on some sitcom at some point. Cool, 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 cool.
Not on this one.
I certainly hope you donated your time well during the strike, sir. Feeding people, possibly. Good God. Okay, so then we get this weird thing where he talks about how he burned rubber up and down the Mass Turnpike 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I'm not from the questionably great state of Massachusetts, but I have previously commented on the weird references to Alex growing up in the Chicago area. Which was in the episode where we find out that no, they really do want to do a mommy son thing. That's right. Okay, Jesus Christ, how does this show keep getting worse? Anyway, yeah, so I don't know if the Massachusetts comment is bullshit, but it sounds like bullshit. And then Charlie zooms through and gets stuck in the mud. And then
And the guy laughs at him. That becomes a running theme. The toll taker,
yep,
keeps laughing at him.
the bridge keeper.
The bridge keeper.
Yes. We then cut to Cheryl in a government office. Now, I fell asleep during some of these scenes.
So I don't remember much of this scene either because I started dissociating because this is my second point, and it goes for all of the characters for the most part. These young people are finding it difficult to acclimate to local custom, whether that is things being overly bureaucratic or people randomly asking for tolls on a bridge or people fixing your car for you
and giving you a beer
after you've berated them. None of these characters are learning from any lesson.
Last episode was about him learning patois, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that doesn't come back. The point is that instead of just like being like, okay, I'm in a different place, I need to adjust my expectations, they keep just digging their heels into this isn't what it's like in Massachusetts. This isn't what it's like in Chicago. This isn't what it's like in Minnesota.
And again, with Cheryl having the bureaucratic subplot, it allows
this is the second bureaucratic subplot.
It allows the optics of her being shitty and rolling her eyes at the black people as a black woman.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a little bit different when it was Alex doing it. It's very different when it's Charlie doing it. It's weird. It's like the show's trying to teach you to be racist to people when you're in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's trying to teach you.
But to me, it just makes me crazy because, and this is part of the larger problem, too many Fleischmans, right? Fleischman at least like adjusted. He managed his he learned how to manage his expectations over time, and he learned to expect things that were unexpected. These people are not learning these lessons. And there are too many of them. So if one person learns the lesson, we have to then watch somebody else learn the lesson. It is so annoying, cloying, and I had to check out. I checked out. So I understand that she was visiting some office about her visa.
Okay, so she needs to get her visa renewed. They need her high school diploma. They sent the letter to Queens. She told them not to send it to Queens.
Because she lives 2 miles
Lives
away.
there. They were like, it's what's on the application, and the application clearly states it's sent to your home
address.
Address of registration.
Yeah.
Big sigh. Out she goes. Cut to the clinic. It's Roy D and Alex. Does Roy D just have his fucking shirt off?
No, he doesn't have his shirt off.
Okay.
No, he doesn't.
When we just fucking go all in and watch Dark Shadows, I'm gonna just be imagining Roy D with his shirt off the whole time. Cool. That's a fucking curse. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Great. Oh God. I'm never gonna not see it. He's checking Alex out. Alex is like, "Do I have appendicitis?" And Roy D's like, "You're a pervert, young man. You're here
What have
to
you been up
learn.
to?
You're here to be a white savior, not to have deviant sexual encounters."
At least he doesn't ask if it's a local, because that could have gotten into some territory that we don't need. But this is another thing you and I had kind of talked about briefly, I think yesterday or the day before. Like, he seemingly doesn't know what Alex is up to. And in a few seconds, he doesn't know what Dr. Davis is up to.
Right.
Dr. Davis is notorious among her students for this.
Yes.
But Roy D does not know.
No.
I find that fascinating, especially because it's a small island. They all work together.
King in the island part again. We'll go back to the hospital, but yeah.
And he seems clueless. And he seems like he's a perv, and he probably would have put moves on her too at some point, right? Like,
he was one of the 28-year-old men. And the other one was fuckhead.
You think he's only 14 years older than her?
But whatever. He's one of the ones she regrets secretly. Like maybe
not so secretly.
Maybe Wilford Brimley's the is he 14 years older than her? I don't know. No, he'd be yeah. Okay, so turns out he's got a hernia. He's gonna need a surgery. He's got to go to the hospital. Oh yeah, the bus to St. Anne's Hospital that in the fucking pilot they very clearly established did not exist.
Yeah.
And this was the clinic was the only place for medical care without like a 2-hour flight.
Yeah.
Colin comes over, leading to my note, Colin's back, because we haven't seen Colin in a while, who goes, "Is that coconut oil?" And then Roy D's like, "Get somebody to cut off these perverts' handcuffs."
That was funny. That was the best part for me, was just Roy D calling him a perv the whole time. That was my favorite.
Then Dr. Davis comes over and
pretends like nothing's. "What's wrong with you, Alex?" Blah, 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 in her beautiful accent. And he explained that he has a hernia, da, 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 da. And she walks past and says, "Oh, get some rest," and like puts a key in his hand. Presumably that's the handcuff key.
Another note about this is also no Carl Lumley this episode. Carl Lumley was like, "I'm not coming back if Andy Lauer's going to be acting that way." Because didn't they have like a fucking mentor protege thing in episode 2 or something?
He and Colin?
No, not he and Colin. He and Colin were in the pilot. Didn't Charlie go to Carl Lumley at some point for help?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Carl Lumley's like, "No, I'm not doing the scene where I say it's okay that he's a racist." Okay, so then, but it means that the professors are also at the clinic. Yes. And there have been multiple cases at the clinic where these students need a mentor in the situation, and it's usually Colin doing it because he's the second year or whatever. It just implies that the clinic is giving a really poor level of care to these people in addition to sort of exploiting them for stupid American money.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So then we cut to Cheryl on a phone. It's not the phone booth where Joanna Going had the Red Shoes Diary scene. It's another scene where the young men trying to sell her knickknacks are annoying her, and
Yeah.
we then again get the optics of her, you know, black people from America also find the black children in the Caribbean annoying. Just FYI. Um, Jesus Christ. Okay. From the makers of Northern Exposure, from the makers of a show that was so white they commented on it in the year of our Lord 1991. Like, think about that. This was them going, no, yeah, we're gonna make a fucking racist show. Of course we are. Like, we made Northern Exposure.
Look at all the black and brown people,
They're
Andrew.
on the show. It's a diverse
Hello.
cast.
None of them have any lines or they're all interchangeable. I think that was the comment we made yesterday. It's very much like, I had expected Alex in the pilot to have like that friend, the
That
one
friend that
guy.
came back one time, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, this is going to be a thing where this guy is going to be his friend and he's going to learn about the island. Da, 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 da. No, they just pick a different person every week to be the local person with local insights who happens to be black. And they just pick a different person every
Yep.
time. They could be anybody.
And they miss so many opportunities. Well, that's a weird statement about the show. The girl, Delroy Lindo, and the girl thing doesn't
Hmm.
come back. That could have been
Mm-mm.
an awesome recurring subplot.
Yeah.
What people don't understand, and I just saw somebody talking about Moonlighting is on
Mm.
Hulu.
Hulu. Yeah.
And they were talking about how great Moonlighting looks compares to shows of today. And I'm just kind of like, does it though? Like, shows today, yes, they all basically look the same, and TVs basically look the same for 10 years, but it doesn't look bad, right? Like, but
Right.
we can attest lots of things from the 80s look bad. And also, as far as plotting goes, it took until the mid 90s for it to be acceptable to have a running subplot for 4 episodes. Like, we're not even there yet.
Mm-mm.
It's incredible how fucking long it took to expect people to come back every week. Like, that's a wild thing. And yes, there is something great about a done in one TV show. And I very much agree with that. And I can't wait to watch Moonlighting at some point. But as far as a show that requires this is a drama show about their experiences and their character development week to week. If this were fucking Freaks and Geeks 10 or 8 years later, it would be set over the school year. It's
Yeah.
got a built-in fucking thread,
Yeah.
and they don't do anything with it. Charlie mentions his take-home test at the beginning, and then you're like, oh, that's right. They should be having academic subplots. They do
Yeah.
not.
They don't.
Okay, so we then do Cheryl's phone call. Sorry about the ranting, folks, but not, I'm about halfway through my notes at this point, so don't worry,
Wow.
we aren't going to be running long. Cheryl's on the phone with her mom. Did you get this letter? Yes. Send it to me. Okay. Did you get my other letter? No. What letter? How'd she die? Oh, it was leukemia. Yes, I understand she was an important part of my family. Hang up, my cat died. It's pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um,
Aw, there's Gregory in his cone.
yep. Hold on. Let me
Sorry.
turn off the fuzz so you can see him if he. So yeah, Gregory is going. Hey everybody, my cat had a very traumatizing and expensive weekend because he eats plastic. But he's got a bed. He's got a comfy bed in front of the vent with hot air, and then he's got a heated pet pad on
Wow.
there. But then, when he gets too hot, he gets up and he walks over across the room to a Tyvek bag, lays on it, gets his belly a little cool, and then goes back. It's adorable. He also cost as much as a nice used car. Okay, so moving on.
Sorry.
Um, then we cut to Charlie and Kathleen trying to get out of the mud, and Charlie's like, "You're no fucking help, Kathleen. You're a girl." And she's like, "I'm from Minnesota. I've been stuck in snow. I've gotten out of snowdrifts taller than you."
Yeah.
And it's just
Oh, poor
like,
tiny little Andy Lauer.
drag him behind the fucking car. Oh, no, because it's 1992. There could be a blackface episode before the end of this,
I
before we're
will
done.
say, I was going to save it to the end, but I was investigating Andy Lauer on Instagram. He apparently is a good guy.
Yes, he seems to be a very good guy.
He's like he's hosting like a Ukrainian family who's displaced.
Yeah.
He goes to the Caribbean and South America to do volunteer work. He was in Guatemala recently, volunteering in healthcare related stuff, which I thought was weird. Um, so he's not a bad guy,
No,
seemingly.
he's not. He's seemingly not a bad guy.
Just his character on this is racist,
Atrocious. Yeah,
and they let him be that way.
yeah, it's very intentional. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Um, I really just want to divert into whether or not Disney Plus should censor French Connection. And the answer is yes, they should. And you should just have a little button that says fucking racist version. General audience, racist. Just turn it on. But that's not the point of the scenes, even. The point of the scenes is that cops are racist and they're bad for it. It's not that we're supposed to think it's cool. Gene Hackman didn't even want to say it. William Friedkin was like really pushed it because William Friedkin, problematic as fuck. Sorry, Exorcist, blah. Moving on to this terrible show. The guy's like, I will, the gatekeeper, bridgekeeper is like, all right, I know some guys who can get you out of here. It's going to be $25.
Yeah.
Kathleen tries like, oh, I can do it myself. Kathleen's like, I'll split it with you. And she's like, fine. And then Bridge guy's like, all right, let's go get some lunch first. Charlie's like, I don't want any fucking lunch. And the guy's like, I'm taking your money. I'm going to give you some lunch. Let's go. There's also a point where the guy calls Charlie boss, and Charlie goes, don't you call me boss. Okay, commercial break. Alex at the hospital, whining that he has to wait for in line.
This is another like what do you expect? Like
Yeah.
you've been through the bureaucracy before, Alex. Now you're a part of a different kind of bureaucracy. Why are you whining and complaining?
Who was at the hospital? Charlie took the finger. Charlie's
Charlie
racist
took the finger,
journey to
yeah.
the hospital 2 episodes ago. So yes, he's carrying out. Okay.
Yeah.
We then cut to Charlie and Kathleen having lunch at Bridgekeeper's house. He did not take him to a food stand. He took him into his home and gave them some of the his grandpa or grandma's jerk chicken recipe. Kathleen is in eating it, and she's like, "You should have some, Charlie. It's good. Try some, you racist fucking asshole." And he's like, "I will not." And she's like, "Can you just be cool?" And he's like, "I will not be cool. Do not tell me to be cool." Charlie grew up to be Ben fucking Shapiro, or shrank to become Ben Shapiro, kind of like the pigman in Swamp Thing, the movie, which you shouldn't see. You could see, but you should more likely see. What did I tell you to see last week? Not Beverly Hills Cop, something else. Something even more obvious that you should have seen.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Okay.
I just thought about that the other day. I was like, oh yeah, he told me to watch this, and I can't remember it now.
You watch Star Wars, dude. You love Star Wars. You can't be like, I love Star Wars. I'm just out on various other mates, Anyway, moving on. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, I refuse to be cool. Dude's like, you white boys from Croft University need to chill the fuck out. Bridgekeeper's like that. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you know I'm a white boy from Croft University? And he's like, because the only people who drive cars like that, a tourist wouldn't drive a car like that. He's a mirror. So Bridgekeeper gives Kathleen a drink, and he goes, "Yeah, you don't know what's in that drink, Kathleen. You shouldn't drink that."
He might
And
be trying to
then
poison you because he's a local.
he's like, "You know what, man? Maybe you should just take your fucking money and get your car out yourself." And Kathleen's like, I want to go home, Charlie. Stop. Drink this. Let's do it. And
Yeah.
then dude's like, let's go get my donkeys, George and Martha, and they'll help us get the thing out.
Oh yeah, the
So
donkeys were cute.
the dude got his toll one way or another, but he also like fucking broke bread with these people and probably had a delicious meal and a great fruit drink. And it just sucked. Like it was just awful.
Again, an opportunity like Andy Lauer had last time, like Charlie had last
He
time.
had the scene. He had the scene. Shouldn't he be speaking patois to him? Shouldn't Kathleen be like, dude, you were speaking patois to us the whole fucking week, talking about how much you respected love culture and how many black friends you have.
Yeah.
Can't you be nice to this black guy?
Oh yeah, because Cheryl has the scene this at one. Okay. I forgot where Cheryl's arc went.
Yeah, we're starting that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember Cheryl needed to get her visa and she's going to get thrown out of the country by next episode, and then her cat died and blah 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 blah. Forget all that shit. That's all gone
Yeah.
now. Okay, Cheryl meets a reggae singer who talks to him about his pee and he's having migraines and he smokes ganja and she tells him not to smoke it in the clinic, but it helps with his hospital or his head. Sorry, I'm reading ahead in the notes. We cut to the Alex in his hospital bed. He's been
Mm,
seated. It's still okay. Time presumably works how we understand it in this show. This is not Dracula the series. We are not going to go from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. to 11 a.m.
yeah.
to midnight to 3 p.m. We're not doing that. We have morning, we have night. We've established that in this show, those times that they tried to have the friends scene at the end of the episode, which they've also stopped doing because,
Because it was good.
I mean, it was better.
It was better.
It was better.
It was just nice to see them hanging out, spending time together, not being assholes.
Right, that is a good point. They aren't being assholes to anyone. Um, so yes, but basically the scene is just that people in the hospital with Alex, here he's a medical student, and ask him for medical advice, and he's put out.
Then people are looking at him,
And
and it
people are
makes him
looking at him because
uncomfortable.
he's being a Karen. The first episode, when Carl Lumley hadn't quit by beating his agent over the head with a stick. Or that's what happened. Carl Lumley beat his agent over the head with a stick and was lost his representation. So that's and he's getting a different job. He's like I'm just gonna go to Fox. Fuck it. Okay. We should watch Mantis. Let's watch Mantis.
Let's watch Mantis.
Let's watch Mantis. Um, Carl Lumley's wonderful. He was actually wonderful on that Supergirl show. He plays one of the characters' dad. Yeah, I know you didn't see Supergirl. Shocker, shocker. Supergirl is not Beverly Hills fucking cop. Have you seen Midnight Run? You are watching Midnight Run. You are watching Midnight Run, or we are watching every episode of this twice.
You can't make me.
We're watching every episode of this twice. I can make this show go on forever. I can transcribe the episode and I will read the dialogue to you. It'll be like fucking Andy Kaufman just to make you watch Midnight Run. Watch Midnight Run. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
she's not going to watch Midnight Run, folks. Spoiler. Yes, so he's just put out, but yeah, in the first episode, Carl Lumley told him that there weren't doctors and they had to there was a responsibility of care and shit, and
Yeah.
they were the representatives of the medical profession and be fucking doctors without borders or whatever. Aspirational bullshit. Alex isn't into any of that shit. Okay, we then cut to Colin and Cheryl in what seems to be their first scene together, either alone ever.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know if they've even ever met on screen before.
Remember, there was one of the Friends things. Colin was there.
Was he? Okay, so they have been
when he and Kim were still dating.
Oh, right, that's right. God, I miss that. I just miss the homoeroticism of their boat ride together, just building a canoe with another man and a bunch of young black actors who don't get SAG cards because they didn't get lines.
Yeah.
Okay, cutting to so Colin is taking her through deep breathing. So basically Cheryl's arc is that she's overwhelmed with things, the fucking clerical work of life, and then she's going to be overwhelmed with the medical thing. She doesn't think she can hack it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cut to the bridge. Charlie finally just did it and called the cops on dude.
Did that happen that quickly? Are we that?
I don't know. I don't know how far I fell asleep. Oh, wait, hold on. They were trying to get they get the car out.
Yeah.
We cut to them getting the car out. That's right. Charlie's that big of a piece of shit. They get the car out, and dude's like giving him a car wash as part of the deal. Cut to commercial. Charlie has called the cops.
Yeah.
After his car is out. And he's like, hey, man, I want my money back. And the cop's like, why did you give him money? And he's like, well, he said it was a toll. He's like, there's no toll, is there? And everybody's like, no. He's like, well, that's weird. And
including
like,
the bridge man.
The bridge man's like, yeah, what is he? I don't see a toll. And then Charlie's like, yeah, but then I got stuck in the mud. And the cop's like, what mud? And he points over and the mud's gone. And Charlie's like, you made the mud go away in the last 30 minutes. Because presumably Charlie drove Kathleen home and then got the cops.
Yeah.
But then actually, no, it's even worse. We then imply, no, dude saw the car coming up and had time to get rid of the mud. That was deep enough that a car got stuck in it. And Charlie's like, you got me, local man. And the local man is like, yes, I did. Okay, we cut to the hospital.
It. I mean, yeah.
Did you... So Alex's butt was exposed. Did you enjoy that?
It's a tiny little tush.
Okay.
Tiny little tush. So, but we skipped did we skip where he gets his head shaved? Where the guy's preparing to shave his head?
Oh, yeah, we skipped it because I forgot to write it down. That's right.
Yeah, the guy. There's a gentleman preparing his clippers to shave his. Presumably, I mean, he does not need his head shaved for a surgery on his hernia area. So he's just talking manically as he does at this guy who does not respond. Again, did not get any lines, did not get a SAG card for this, and then it turns out like the guy is at the wrong station, and this is supposed to make everybody concerned for Alex and how the surgery is going to come out, because he can't even and if he can't even like get the right person shaving the right area of his body, then how are they going to have a surgeon to do hernia surgery? And so he gets up and runs away, at which point you see his little tuchus. But it's funny because there's the scene where you see his tuchus, and then there's the scene the other direction where he's running away from the people who are coming to claim him, and it's like very clearly taped or pinned together so you can't see his tush.
I wasn't staring at his tush that much.
I wasn't either, but I noticed it.
So at this point I think I fell asleep because my next note is Charky found his car and then fell on his ass.
Yes, he does get covered in mud.
So Charlie falls on his ass at some point. Does Alex get away or do they catch him?
They catch him and he has his surgery. Yes, but you don't see any of it, do you?
I don't.
Yes, that he counts back from 10. Yeah, there's a whole belabored scene where...
Oh, I actually have that with Alex is stoned. But
yeah,
whatever.
But he's still just talking maniacally. Yeah. And
okay.
And then we don't see him again for a while.
But in between those scenes, we have Cheryl and the reggae guy, and the guy's dying.
He's dying, and I don't remember what of, but it's treatable.
And he doesn't want the treatment.
He doesn't want the treatment. And so, again, this is Cheryl coming to terms with there are people in the world who just want to die. They just want to live their lives and be happy. And then when their time is up, their time is up. But, Western medicine saves everything. So why not take the Western medicine? And the guy's like, because I live my life to play music, talk to beautiful women, smoke ganja, The end. Like, that's my life. And I'm happy doing that.
Okay, now you're going to have to walk me through my next notes.
Okay.
So I think this is after the operation and possibly and probably based on my system after a commercial break. My notes say Charlie and Dude, white tourist since the 50s, Waterfall was great, Papa Hemingway was a good writer, question mark. PP from the top of the bridge a la the Golden Age, Bartholomew the Dude, take Charlie's Michigan t-shirt. What does that mean?
So the only thing that I can remember is that Charlie starts talking to the bridge man, and the bridge man reveals all of the famous people who he has met and become friends with. This is a thing on Northern Exposure, except they're not real people usually, um, that have passed through the island. And Papa Hemingway is one of them,
Okay.
and there's this discussion about, what a great guy he was and how much he drank and awesome, awesome, awesome. And Charlie's very enthusiastic because, oh, he's one of the greatest writers ever.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't know who this guy was. And he's like, yeah, I know who he is. I know him better than you do. Just because I didn't know he was a famous writer doesn't mean I don't, like, I literally know.
Right.
It's not some parasocial relationship because you're jerking off over Old Man in the Sea. That's the only part I remember, is that Charlie warms up to the guy after he realizes that
He knows famous white people
he knows
that
famous white
Charlie
people.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, this is a Fleischman-y moment, but there's not the racism in
Yeah.
the Fleischman. Like it's not this.
Yeah.
Charlie hasn't. Fleischman didn't just call the cops on the Black Bird Watcher who was making a fucking documentary or whatever, like for the BBC, right? Like, and get called a thug or something, right? Like that's what Charlie just tried to. Okay. We then cut to Colin and Cheryl. I'll just read my notes to you. Island gets to you. So beautiful. It passes. Island fever. Long ass story about Santa Claus. A few years ago. Something under the rug. Some stuff I put away. Cheryl's going to have to chill and figure it out.
That's about right.
Okay. But it is a long ass story about Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And
okay.
it's obviously this is the first time we've seen Colin in a couple of episodes.
Right. And he has moved on.
Yeah. He's moved on from Kim to Cheryl.
They would be an amazing throuple, which is what
I
I
mean,
mean. There was that threesome movie in '93. Maybe it's in here.
maybe.
Didn't Melrose Place have the first bisexual character on TV or something?
Oh, did it?
Maybe I don't know.
I like barely watched it.
Well, you shouldn't have. You were 10. I shouldn't have. I was 14.
I
15.
watched parts of 90210, but I didn't make the jump to Melrose Place.
See, I was doing like we don't talk. My friend and I actually would fucking watch those and just like shit and commentate throughout. Anyway. Okay, so I'm not going to read the notes for my rest of it because I'm not reading one of these phrases that I have in here. But we then cut to Dr. Davis playing the piano. Alex shows up. She's like, "Are you better? Is mommy's little boy better?" And he's like, "I'm better, mommy." And so it ends with him implying that he's making an O face this time for the other reason, not a hernia. And he's ready to continue his lessons about how.
What does he say? Something like, I'm swelling again, but
Yeah, I
in a
wasn't going to say
different
that. I
place.
wasn't going to fucking say that. That's what my note was, and I wasn't going to say it because it's inappropriate, Emily. We are a family friend.
Who's family friendly?
Joe's family. Joe's family could
Joe's
watch
life.
this. Oh, by the way, Danny Masterson in prison.
Has he made his way to prison? I don't
know. But I do like that pretty much nobody is like everybody who fucking stood up for him. Everybody's just like, wow, those people just suck. They just suck. Ashton Kutcher had to be off his board of helping rape victims or something. They were just like, wow, I didn't know you'd find out about it.
Yeah, what a piece of work.
Where did the last scene, think? Heavens, are you ready?
Yes.
We cut to the reggae club.
Oh,
Dr.
that's right.
Davis. Oh, I mean, I took my notes in the wrong order because I was like, I'll remember, and then I was like, I might not. They're doing a cover of One Love.
Mm-hmm.
We also must mention Reggae Man had a lengthy monologue about Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
So
And this is
there,
presumably him. I didn't get a good look at him on
one
stage.
second, his 1 second on
Okay.
screen,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, Cheryl is gonna be his friend. No, Cheryl's there basically on a quasi date with Colin. So they dance. We then zoom out to Dr. Davis dancing with somebody and Alex watching her sadly because he knows that she's getting some other D tonight. She might make him watch. Wait a second. Wait a second.
That I'm down for. I'm all about humiliating Alex at this point. Like, I'm all about it. He's not a nice person.
No.
So I'm
But
I'm there for it.
we have no follow up on Andy Lauer.
Nope.
Um, who else was on this? We didn't have any.
There was barely any
Joanna
Kim.
Going disappeared.
Yeah, there was no Kim.
No Kim at all. We're missing the scene where Alex gets home or Charlie gets home and Joanna Going and Kim are sitting in the living room or something. And he's like, I just talked to the bridge keeper and it turns out he's really nice. And Kim and Joanna Going go, have you ever noticed that he learns that black people are nice and just people too every episode? And
Every episode.
he never remembers. And then they look at the camera and they go, I wonder what we won't remember next week. Do 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 do.
Speaking of next week, episode 8, Human Races. I'm going to read the description from IMDb because it's right in front of me. The pressure is on when Dr. Croft's ex-wife pays a visit to claim money concealed during the divorce. Not a surprise. Charlie sees a tutor who is even more stressed than he is. Great. Kim and Cheryl get close while preparing for a race. Yes.
Fuck. Yeah. Okay. So this is the thing about Melrose Place. They were like, because, okay, so in the 90210 in Melrose Place, and the reason Melrose Place ties to this is because the guy who actually like did this show, not the Frand brothers or Brand brothers, whatever the fuck their names are, he went on to do Melrose Place for a number of years. That was
Yeah.
his success at this point. And it's these young professionals of various success levels living in the same area. And will they or won't they fuck while they fuck other guest stars? Melrose Place, for a second, tried not to do that, right? Like it tried not to be trash. And then it got trashy, and then it got super trashy. And like it just became like sort of a nighttime 80s nighttime soap set at a apartment around an apartment complex in LA. So like
Yeah.
it was visually identifiable to a different demographic than Dynasty was, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about this is there's no fucking. The only fucking is Alex and the pervert teacher who might kill him or might have him kill for her at the end.
Yeah.
Like that's why actual like chemistry between Colin and Kim was so striking and so like just nice to have, or even Joanna Going and Delroy Lindo. Like,
Yeah, and that's why we're so excited about this next episode with
right.
Erica Alexander and Kim. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other elements to that, but it's like, oh my God, these people are having emotions and human relationships, and this is what I want to see. I don't want to see people, like there's something to be said for like the adjustment to living in a new place, but these people are horrible, and that adjustment is not going well for them, and I'm done with it. And they don't mix it in with anything interesting.
Nope.
Because the sex with Dr. Davis and Alex is all like toxic. Like their relationship is toxic and awful. Whether or not he's game for it, it is not a healthy thing. And like everybody individually is terrible, except for Cheryl Alexander, but Erica Alexander is a good actress, but the character's not even that great.
The character's not great. Like, Kim's arguably the best character, but he's like,
He's barely in it.
he's barely in it. He's, a Ken doll, and the joke is he's just, a cultural appropriator, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like that, a stereotype, a problematic one, but it's of not being a terrible person.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason he's not. He's not like a good.
No.
Okay, so cool.
Yay.
Who plays? I need to know right now who plays
It,
the
it's not
ex-wife.
listed. They just have the regular cast. Let me look to see if there's a full cast list. All cast. Dr. Croft, Alex Lauren, Dr. Nope, not listed.
Cool. Okay. Well,
We'll see. That'll get you to watch it that much faster.
no, it won't. It won't. Definitely not next week either. All right.
Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Onesies, where we discussed episode 7, A Bridge Too Far. Next week, we'll be talking about
17, everyone.
Next week, we'll be talking about episode 8. We'll be getting down to single digits remaining. Episode 8 of what is this fucking Going to Extremes? We'll be down to single digits.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew.
Thank you for staying with us through our suffering, everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe next time we'll have a whole list of we'll just make lists about things that we have watched that we enjoyed that's not awful. And not talk about
Midnight Run, possibly.
Possibly.
If you watch Midnight Run, you can give up 2 episodes and skip them, and I'll watch them and just tell you about them. That's the deal. All right.
We'll see. Okay. See you in television land, Andrew.
See you in television land, Emily.